Hello. So this week I want to talk about how video games can be therapeutic, or relaxing, if you will. It's sometimes we gamers like to play video games as an escape from reality or whatever. Well, some examples, for example, um, any kind of games that are nostalgic to you. For example, like I was born right in the middle of the 8-bit era, so it was like the Super Nintendo and Genesis was like my elementary school years. Um, the N64, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn, which was short-lived, was my middle school years. The GameCube, PS2, original Xbox, and Dreamcast was like my high school years. So it's like sometimes when you go back and play those games, it's like a cat jumping in your lap. No, it's like it's almost like it's like a time capsule, if you will. Whether a game has aged well or not. Some games haven't aged well, but maybe they're still fun to play, or maybe not. But it's like it takes you back to a time of innocence, if you will, where you didn't have to worry about bills or rent, mortgage, taxes, things like that. And it's just for that brief moment, you're a kid again, or a teenager, or whatever, and it's nice for, especially if you, come home from, a hard day of work, or whatever, or even just, more graphic video games, which I want to get this out of the way right now, because politics are, absolutely the last thing I'll talk about on this channel, but it's, for the past 30 years or so, violent video games have been used as a scapegoat for violent crimes. But 99% of gamers, including myself, know the difference between fiction and reality. We know this is just a video game. If you play Grand Theft Auto, the shit that you're doing in that game is illegal in real life, and you wouldn't actually go out and do it, or something. Or playing Mortal Kombat isn't gonna make you go try and rip somebody's head off or something, But sometimes these games can be almost therapeutic. When you, especially like I said, you have a bad day and you're just oh, I just need to play a violent video game and kill people in the fictional world. Mentioning Grand Theft Auto. Honestly, I was kind of always more a fan of the Destroy All Humans games, especially the second one. Which these are kind of the same idea as Grand Theft Auto, except you're an alien and you don't really hijack vehicles. But yeah, I remember it was just there were times where I was just having a bad day, and I was I would pop this in and just go around killing people with all the alien weapons and technology, and just blowing up cars and buildings and stuff, and I'm just oh, it felt it felt good. Or wrestling games. If there was maybe a wrestler you hated, you'd play the wrestling game and just beat the shit out of that wrestler. Or even beat 'em ups, one of my favorite genres. I think James Rolfe said it in the Battletoads AVGN episode, where he's punching people is so satisfying, which, again, he's talking about fictionally, but another thing I love about beat 'em ups. Sorry, I just got out of the shower. I got water in my ear. But anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, beat 'em ups is because growing up in the 90s, where it was watching things like Power Rangers and different action movies and stuff, and it was that was the other thing about beat 'em ups. It almost felt like you were playing one of those action shows or movies or whatever. Just beating people up, throwing them into each other, or that's another thing I always loved about beat 'em up games. It's how you have a level on an elevator and you can throw people off and shit. It's just like I said, or just picking up items to beat them with. Again, in an action movie, or how Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo. You could take two enemies and slam them into each other, or slam their heads together. Or you also had a move where you could throw them in the background, like up against a bench or a window or something, like, or the Streets of Rage games or Final Fight, you can throw people into like wooden crates or phone booths or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But stepping away from some of the more violent type stuff, another type of games that are easy to lose yourselves in are like JRPGs or strategy games. Like, God, I remember when I was in high school, like, I kind of struggled a bit. Well, school in general, I kind of always struggled. But I remember it was like in high school, I would come home and I would take Suikoden 2 or Legend of Dragoon and pop it into my PlayStation and, to kind of just lose myself into it. It's like probably a good play for a good 4 hours or so because I was just so entranced by the story. Like, I just lost myself in the game and the story and stuff. In fact, I actually just started playing, not too long ago, I started playing through Dragon Quest IX again. And, a very underrated game in the series, and, I love the whole character customization mode in this. But again, it's just like, you find yourself so entranced by the story. Like, there's a part where, because I haven't played this in years, but it was like, wow, I forgot about that. That's actually kind of sad. Was that, you go to, like, this town where there's this girl who's, like, kind of the talk of the town. She's very upbeat and friendly, and she's, but she hasn't been herself lately. So, you find out the girl actually, years ago, her and her family passed away. So she was, like, a very sickly child, so she was always sick, so she could never really go out and enjoy life, so to speak, or something. Like, she could never really leave her house because she was always sick. So, a toy maker made her this life-size look-alike doll that was basically her best friend. And, when the girl died, long story short, she brought this doll to life, and said, like, go out there and live the life that I never could, pretend to be me, basically. And I was like, well, it's pretty deep, But yeah. Another type of game that's, like, so good to lose yourself in, just, like, again, forget about everything around you, is open world games. Like, the thing, I've talked about this before, one of the things I love about open world games is that you can kind of just do whatever you want. Like, you play it, and, maybe, like, maybe I'll focus on the story, or I'll do some of the side quests, or I'll just aimlessly wander around, exploring, and, like, killing enemies, or whatever. Again, you have this big it's a big open world. You got all this stuff to explore and do stuff, and, yeah. Like, hell, what's it called? Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is on the horizon. I know that's, a lot of people are looking forward to that. I'm probably going to hold off for a bit, mainly because, well, I'll probably have to get, for one thing, like, another, on my Switch, I already have, like, the internal storage, obviously the cloud saves and all that, but I also have, like, a chip, SD card, whatever you call it, like, in there. Yeah, so I'll probably have to get another one of those just for Tears of the Kingdom. But, another thing is that I also kind of want to work on my backlog a bit. Like I said, I'm still working on this. Suikoden 2, which I just mentioned recently, you have the remasters of that coming out. There's the remake of Dragon Quest 3, that's on the horizon. None of these games have been announced yet, no release dates yet, but, we do know they're coming this year. Dragon Quest 3 is at least more of a hunch for me. I think it'll be this year. Also, the Suikoden remaster, not the remaster, the spiritual successor, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. But, and the other thing is, on top of all that, I still haven't played, I haven't even picked it up yet, is the Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, which is also an open world game, but you get what I'm saying? Like, see how it's... My overall point is that, any type of video game, whatever genre you like, or whatever, it's just nice to go in there and just lose yourself, like, especially, like I said, after if you had had a day at work, or whatever, you just need, like, a brief escape from the harsh reality of life, or whatever. But, yeah, so, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, thanks for watching.